The Australian Championship. Australia's answer to the fact there is no relegation and promotion between the second and first division of Australian football. Something that is rarely seen in any other footballing nation across the world. As for this video, this is Helos Originals. My platform to tell stories in Australian football that I think deserve to be told, matched with visuals and commentary. Today's story, well, it's NWS Spirit vs Avondale FC. In my opinion, the most entertaining game of the Australian Championship so far. Now for context on this fixture. The rollercoaster these two clubs have been on to get to this exact point is nothing short of wild. But what's even more wild is the settings I shot this video on. See, as for this story, I didn't know I wanted to tell it until I was there. And once I got to the ground, I decided, nah, I'm going to shoot a YouTube video today, no matter what. And I know exactly how I want to portray it. Whatever the result and fixture may turn out to be, I know this is a story that deserves telling. And here is what the video looked like before I started colour grading. That could be some of the most overexposed footage in history. And just to preface, the following 3 to 5 minutes, some of the footage will be overexposed, no matter how much I tried to fix it. Regardless, let's get into some context about these clubs. Now, NWS Spirit, some will affectionately know as Northern Spirit. Northern Spirit entered the NSL, which was the Australian top division before the A-League came along. And they actually broke a few records. They broke crowd attendances for both home and away games. They were owned by Rangers, yes, Glasgow Rangers, and also Crystal Palace. They had the exact same owners, before being owned by some of the players that were playing at the club at the time. As for Avondale, they have climbed up the leagues. They started in the Victorian Amateur Leagues, and now they are one of the only NPL clubs that actually has full-time staff working for them. It is truly remarkable not only how they run their club, but the systems and settings they have put in place to find themselves in this position. Make no mistake, this is not blind luck for Avondale. This was all planned and premeditated. And now they find themselves on a sunny Sunday afternoon playing in the northern side of Sydney City. Let's get straight into it. Like I said, I didn't necessarily plan this video, and the camera and setup I was filming on is much heavier than I ever expect. So we're going full handheld today, and you're just gonna have to bear with me. Enough about me, and that's the last you'll hear about me. Let's get into the game. And I wanted to showcase pieces of play like this to you. You see, one of the critiques about the Australian Championship when heading into it is people didn't think there would be a quality of football. And that largely comes down to the fact it's more physical. So I think a lot of people believe to the naked eye that there's a lack of quality. That's far from true. And the passing passages you'll find between some of these clubs, not only the two on your screen, but across the league, is nothing short of beautiful. Now at this point in time, it is 0-0. The game was just starting to get going. This was only the second game of a 6-game group stage. So naturally both teams are pretty wary of each other and they're not truly sure what to expect. As for Avondale, playing on a synthetic pitch like this, I'm not sure they're used to it. As far as I'm aware, Victorian pitches are for the most part grass. Whereas Spirit, they know this synthetic pitch better than anyone. Spirit understand the exact weight of balls needed on a synthetic pitch like this. And in doing so, they created the earliest opportunity of the game. A ball to the back post with a header that went begging. Nonetheless, I digress. Let's move into some players you should keep an eye out for. Now, when I watch football, whilst I completely appreciate skill, I completely appreciate technique. What I'm looking for is characters and people that move with just a pure rawness about them. That they don't have to calculate every move, they just deal with situations as they come. Prime example of this is the referee falling over, getting up and blowing for a free kick. And whilst multiple players from Spirit had alerted him the fact that he was unable to see the free kick because his face was planted into the ground, he did not care, and he stood staunch in his decision. And that's something I truly appreciate. Now at this point, the game is still fairly cagey, and naturally so. I'm under the belief that these two teams had never played each other before, at least in a competitive setting. But it was fouls like this that started to get the game rolling. Something I always look for when I'm watching football, no matter what level in Australia, but especially in the top, second, third, fourth tier, aka the semi-pro leagues, is those early fouls to see what the referee's going to call and what the players think is a normal standard of a free kick and compared to a heavy foul that they're willing to go into a push and shove with. As for that one, no Spirit player truly reacted. The game started to flow from this point on, and there were some heavy tackles flying in. As I said, the standards needed to be set, and they were starting to be set, and the game started to grow into its own life shortly afterwards. Cuba picking up the ball on the left side, and this man, I had no idea what he was going to do. In this option, choosing to pass it, maybe not the best pass in the world, but like I said, I'm not looking for technique. I'm just looking for a rawness. I I'm of the opinion, I don't know what I want you to do. I just want you to do it and I'll appreciate it afterwards. You know what I mean? I think that's the most beautiful thing about football. Robotic players are far too often now. They are far too often. And we are coaching out of our top level players, not just in Australia, but all over the world, the rawness and skill that we once appreciated and that we are so often nostalgic about. And a player that you will find that in for Spirit is number 10, Mikey Conestabile. And in my opinion, he was by far the best player in New South Wales NPL this season. Now, I say this with the utmost respect, but at the start of the New South Wales 2025 NPL season, if you were to ask fans like myself, who watch every weekend, where you think Spirit would have finished, I cannot emphasise enough, I say this with respect, a lot of people would have tipped them in the bottom half. But Spirit won the league and won it comprehensively. And whilst people thought their run at the start was just a matter of good luck and good wins and fortunate wins, you know how it gets in football, it was far from that. And they kept that same intensity and tempo all year round. Now, Bruno Fornaroli has just gone down in the box and heading into halftime, he makes it 1-0 for Avondale. As is always true for Bruno Fornaroli, when a game is starting to peter out, it's starting to get a little bit boring, and the defence in front of him is starting to get a little bit comfortable, Bruno always pops up with something. Into half-time we headed, and it was 1-0 to Avondale. But this moment right here, this is exactly what I love about the Australian game. Bruno Fornaroli signing Uruguayan and Australian kits. Uruguay, the country of his birth and the country that he grew up in. Australia, his adopted country. After becoming an A-League legend, Bruno went on to earn Socceroos caps into his mid-30s. I truly love him, and I truly love the fact that he has chosen to play in the Australian Championship. A true showcase of his love for the Australian game. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Northern Spirit. That was actually a Northern Spirit kit right there on display earlier. Now, we head into the second half, and I cannot emphasize enough, I was on a one-man mission this day, and I did not plan this video at all. I just brought a video camera and a photo camera. Oh my God. And as it turns out, in the first 10 minutes of the second half, I was using my photo camera. So unfortunately, I did not capture 2 goals. Avondale scored very early within the first few minutes of the second half, and then Mikey Conestabile, the best player in New South Wales NPL in 2025, responded with a volley from outside the box into the Avondale bottom corner. I wish I captured it on video because it is one of the best goals I have seen in a long time, especially at a live football match. So, just that we're clear, it is currently 2-1 to Avondale at this point in time. 2-1 to Avondale. It was 2-0 not long ago. They've just clawed it back to 2-1 Spirit. And as is with Spirit, as it has been all of 2025, they refuse to give up. They refuse to give in. No matter how much you write them off. Everyone who wrote them off at the start of the season, wrote them off during the season, wrote them off towards the back end of the season. They will not go away. They refuse to. No matter what happens to them. Injuries, cards, bad calls, you name it. They refuse to give in. Now this man right here, Adon Kyra. I may be pronouncing his name wrong, but he's from NPL 2, the 3rd division of Australian football. And that injury you just saw on screen to Pasevsky has called in for Kyra to enter the field. And this is where it starts to get beautiful. Kyra, straight from NPL 2, a man who's been chasing his football dreams, finally gets the chance to play on the Australian national stage. And within minutes, he is gifted his opportunity. A ball to Wigan that floats into the back post to Afuka. Afuka manages to get the ball into the middle. Ball falls to Kyra, and I'm going to let the raw audio play out on this one. This is exactly what the Australian Championship was made for. This year, Kyra would have played in front of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people at some games. And here he is on the Australian national stage, broadcast to both YouTube and live television, highlights packages going out left, right and centre, and he takes his opportunity within minutes. He has been chasing his footballing dreams for years. And he was finally gifted an opportunity, and he took it in no time. And even better, he did it in front of some local young'uns that are also looking to make their dreams come true and play on the national stage. Now, whilst I'm talking about NPL 2, the 3rd division of Australian football, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Denton. a man who also comes from that level of football, and he has no way made it look like a difficult task adapting to the Australian national stage in the championship. He is a tireless workhorse, and he will go toe-to-toe with any centre-back, whether they've played in the A-League or Sunday League, it doesn't matter. He'll go toe-to-toe with the best of them, because almost every centre-back in this league is rough as guts, as true centre-backs are meant to be. Now, this injury you see on screen here will allow for a man called Caleb Jackson-Brown to enter the field. Now, the game has started to dissipate a little bit at this point. Caleb enters the field, and within a minute or two, he's going toe-to-toe with Carpenter, the Avondale left back. That's exactly what the game needed, just an injection of physicality and that get-on-with-it attitude. Because Spirit were going for the win. They were 2-0 down, and it was 2-2 at this point. But they didn't care. All they wanted was that 3 points, and they were going to go for it. As you can see here, the ball falling to Caleb, a great challenge there by Avondale, and have a look at this for a save. That is exactly why we have the Australian Championship, ladies and gentlemen, because it's to showcase all talent. Goalkeeper, striker, centre-back, centre midfielder. That save right there is nothing short of remarkable. And I'm more than certain that uncle on your screen right now, he had a true appreciation for that passage of football. Now, if the game couldn't get any more dramatic, Spirit are breaking away. And if there's one man who's been waiting for this opportunity, it's Aidon Kyra to make it 3-2. That goal right there was scored not long after the 80th minute. It was only early in the second half that Spirit found themselves 2-0 down to Avondale, the best team in Victoria throughout the regular season of 2025. And now Spirit found themselves 3-2 up heading into the dying stages of the game. And this is what I most love about the championship as well. You see this game management that you see in these top levels, it's all a load of shit. I want teams, if they're 1 goal up, to continue attacking and to continue to go for it, no matter what cost that comes at, and knowing that any decision can do you over. Now, Spirit, they're going to continue to go forward here, and they'll have their opportunities, as you'll see here, of Fuka, the Japanese star boy of Northern Sydney, colliding with the goalkeeper. And if you think you've seen beautiful moments in football, I just have to remind you of Japanese footballers, man. Fuka had every right to go for that ball. And look at him here. What a sweet human, man. What a sweet human. In a world full of footballers with huge egos, you have men like a Fuka. Now, ball into the middle. There's a Spirit player on the ground. Did I see how he went down? No, I actually didn't, even though it was right in front of me. But he seemed pretty adamant at the time that he'd been fouled. However, he got on with it. It's the Spirit attitude of 2025. And this fella got pushed into a fence. I love this game, man. I love this game. This is what football was made for, man. Suburban fields. I don't care what anyone says. And it's made for risky moments like this. If you're going to play football, let's get risky, let's get expansive, you know? That's exactly how I see it. Now, Avondale are going to go forward here. They're looking for opportunities. We're heading into the dying stages of the game, and in doing so, they allow Spirit to break away. Bear in mind, we are heading towards the 90th minute. It is currently 3-2 to Spirit. Spirit find their way into the box, and a little flick on, unfortunately, doesn't come off. Now, what's about to occur is arguably the greatest goal line clearance I may have ever seen with my own eyes, and I truly mean that. Spirit get a thunderbolt out from 40 yards, keeper spills it, it's going to fall to a Fuka, and bang! That is by far, I don't care what anyone says, man, to do that, that is an elite level of footballing ability. To clear it off your line like that, that ball was pinging, man. That was going 120 in an 80 zone. That thing was flying. He had no right to even, he had no right to be on the line. He also had no right to get his foot into that position that quickly. And in doing so, he kept it 3-2. In reality, in most other footballing games in the world, fully professional footballing games, bear in mind, it is 4-2. There's not many defenders doing that on regular occasion. Now, Avondale, they're going to spread the ball to the left here, and I'm getting a bit distracted. I'm not a videographer by any means, but you're going to see why in a second. You know, I get distracted pretty easily. Now, there's a bit of a UFC fight onto the left, right? Now, look onto the right side of your screen with me. Excuse the tilt. As you see, ball to the back post, and Avondale have made it 3-3 in the last kick of the game. or, well, what would be essentially the last kick of the game. And there are scenes from the Avondale bench, and Avondale brought like 70-odd people to this game. That's incredible, man. They filled out a full plane. Brought a full plane up from Melbourne for the night to come play Spirit out in northern Sydney. That's beautiful stuff. Now, Spirit will get the opportunity to have one more bite at the cherry. And this is exactly what I look for in these games. When I was growing up, the most exciting thing I found about supporting Western Sydney Wanderers was those last minutes, whether we were one goal down, we were drawing, or we were one goal up, and what would occur in those final minutes. And watching these boys from Spirit, who ply their trade in the under 16s, 17s, and 18s, wait in anticipation of a potential 4-3 last-minute winner, reminded me of everything I love about football and everything I loved about it growing up. It reminded me why I love so much documenting and talking about local Australian football. Truly remarkable stuff. The free kick, obviously not what they would have wanted. But Spirit come out of this game being 2-0 down early in the second half to manage a 2-2 draw. Now, final message from myself. To all Australian and New Zealand footballing fans, I cannot emphasise enough, whether it's A-League, whether it's Australian Championship, NPL, VPL, Sunday League, you name it, get down and support your local. But at this point in time, I cannot emphasise enough how important it is to support clubs in the Championship and the A-League. The more we continue to platform our own local homegrown talent, the better off the game in Australia will be. The more eyes on the game equals more money, and that more money equals more opportunity for the great players that are coming through our ranks. And as it goes for Spirit, if you want a team to keep an eye out on, these are your guys. A lot of people wrote them off saying that 2025 was a lucky season. There's no such thing as a lucky season, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot continue to be lucky over 25 rounds. That doesn't happen. You're either good or you're not. And the simple fact of the matter is, Northwest Spirit are not just good, they are elite. And I tip them, along with APIA, to be in that final four come the end of the Oz Championship with Heidelberg and South Melbourne. I'll leave you with that prediction. Until next time.